What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. He assumed the most popular girl in school was only going out with him because of a dare, but the instant she took his hand in front of everybody and declared, "He's my boyfriend," his whole world flipped upside down. Now this solitary gamer is torn between believing it is all an act or accepting that the girl he has always admired might genuinely be developing feelings for him. The story opens with Joe Senna feeling more isolated than a server admin with no one to moderate, convinced that his classmates make plans without ever thinking to include him. On the brighter side, none of them actively bother him either. Joan is simply introverted and shares nothing in common with the crowd that actually has a social life. As usual, his classmates attempt to rope in the most popular girl in class, Nami, but her friends help her craft an excuse, and Nami exhales with obvious relief. Meanwhile, Yao-sen privately dwells on being left out again. As he heads out of school, he reflects on all the plans being made around him and then realizes he left his pencil case behind in the classroom. On the other side of the building, Nami and her friends are still hanging around in class. When Nami loses a game, her friends sentence her, as punishment, to confess her feelings to a boy and date him for a full month. At that same moment, Yao-sen, who only came back to retrieve his pencil case, accidentally overhears the entire exchange. While Nami protests that this kind of punishment crosses a line, Yao-sen quietly moves to leave. One of Nami's friends accuses her of just not wanting to go through with it, and Nami fires back that toying with someone's feelings is wrong, and that a confession ought to mean something real. Her friend points out that Nami has never once dated anyone, despite receiving more confessions than the rest of them combined. Nami counters that every boy who ever confessed to her was only fixated on her looks. Yao-sen is genuinely stunned to learn that Nami has never been in a relationship and wonders if that explains the sigh she let out earlier. Nami's friend continues pushing, warning her that at this rate she'll end up being pursued by someone truly strange, and that even if she does date someone, he would probably brag about her for the rest of his life. This train of thought makes Jae-won figure that if anyone ever managed to date a girl as out of reach as Nami, they would attract an avalanche of envious stares. Backed into a corner by her friends, Nami finally agrees to the punishment, and they select Yao-won as the target. Unbeknownst to them, Yao-sin has heard every single word and breaks into a cold sweat. When Nami asks how she should go about confessing, her friends recommend luring him to the back of the school building. That evening, knowing his real-world social circle is essentially empty, Yao-won turns to his online friends for guidance. He posts a message in the group chat asking his friend Baron what to do. Somewhat unexpectedly, Baron tells Jae-sin to accept Nami's feelings and go along with it, arguing that it is a valuable chance to grow more comfortable around girls. Another friend, Peach, disagrees entirely and says he should turn her down. Baron counters that a guy who rejects a popular girl ends up looking worse than someone who gets rejected, and he goes further, urging Yao-won to treat the month as a window of opportunity. If he can genuinely make Nami fall for him during that time, he will have the power to decide how the relationship ends. Yao-sin asks whether Baron is enjoying all of this, and Baron enthusiastically confirms it, telling him to keep sending updates. The following day at school, Nami approaches Yao-won and asks whether he can spare her a moment after class. He hesitantly says yes. He then spends the rest of the day thinking about Nami, a flashy type of girl who always leaves the top button of her shirt undone. Her naturally warm personality causes every boy around her to imagine she is interested in him personally, which leads to endless misunderstandings. Yao-sin wonders what would happen if someone like him turned down her confession and how many enemies he would make overnight. He also admits to himself that her image can be misleading and that even he is not immune to her charm. When classes finally end, they meet behind the school building. Nami asks Yao-sin whether he has any clue what she is about to say, and he replies that he does not, cracking a dry joke that if she is after his money, she will be disappointed. This mildly irritates her, but Nami collects herself and begins her confession. Yao-sin recalls Baron's advice to resist staring downward and to look upward instead. When he does glance up, however, he spots a student about to tip water out of a window above. At the exact moment Nami confesses, Yao-sin acts without thinking. He lunges toward her, grabs her by the shoulders, and shoves her aside, landing on top of her. Nami understandably panics and cries out, but she goes quiet when she sees Yaosin completely drenched, right before a bucket tumbles from above and strikes him on the head, knocking him out cold. Later, Yao Wen wakes up in the school infirmary, disoriented and unsure how he got there. The memories piece themselves back together quickly. He had tried to shield her from the water, and something heavy had come down on him. At that point, Nami appears, visibly relieved to see him conscious. She apologizes for having to drag him there, but Nami waves off the concern and asks whether he is hurt. Yao reassures her that he is perfectly fine. Nami visibly relaxes at this, and when Yusin asks if she came out of it okay, she nods, saying it is all thanks to him. Yusin sits up and tells her he is just glad she was not injured, which causes Nami to flush deeply and insist he lie back down. Yaosin then realizes his shirt is open, exposing his chest, and hastily pulls a blanket over himself. Nami compliments his physique regardless and assures him she was not trying to stare. Shortly after, the nurse walks in and remarks that this is not the place for anything inappropriate. She hands Yaosin a fresh uniform and asks Nami to step outside while he changes. The nurse quietly informs Jae-woon that he owes Nami a thank you, since she has been looking after him from the moment he was carried in. Once Yao is dressed, Nami asks again whether he is all right, and he thanks her sincerely for staying with him. Nami thanks him in return for protecting her, then circles back to ask what his answer to her confession is. Yaosin recalls that he had literally thrown himself in front of danger before he even had the chance to respond. Following Baron's advice, he looks her directly in the eyes and agrees to date her. This catches Nami completely off guard. She cannot believe it at first, and then she cannot conceal her delight. She asks Yao Sung to call her by her given name now that they are a couple, and announces she will do the same for him. Although calling girls by their first names does not come naturally to Jae-woon, he agrees, says her name, and extends his hand. Nami shakes it, says his name back to him with a wide smile. Jae-sung finds himself lost in that smile before he forces himself to remember that this whole thing is merely a punishment from a game she lost. Even so, he tells her it is a pleasure to be with her, and she lights up. The nurse then startles them both by loudly congratulating them and delivering an unsolicited lecture about the importance of contraception. Nami turns crimson while Yao Sung demands to know why the nurse is speaking like this. She explains that young people need proper guidance because impulse can override judgment, and she would rather not be assisting with any unexpected arrivals. With that, the two walk home together, both far too tense to start a conversation. Yao Sung racks his brain for something to say and eventually lands on the weather. Nami says nothing for a beat, making him think she is just as nervous as he is. She eventually speaks, suggesting they swap contact details. Yao Sung agrees but admits he barely uses messaging apps. He downloaded them strictly to follow official game accounts and collect free in-game items. This makes Nami smile, and he wonders whether he said something odd. What she finds endearing, though, is that she is now his very first contact. She quietly wonders whether he even knows how to save a new number. After a fair amount of fumbling around, he succeeds. Yao Xin had assumed she would not bother exchanging numbers, since this relationship is technically a challenge, and he reflects on how little anyone truly understands women. Soon enough, they reach the station where their routes split. They say goodbye, Nami heads off, and Yao Xin cannot shake the observation that despite the smile on her face as she walked away, there was a trace of sadness in her eyes. Back home, Yao Xin fires up his old PC and gives Baron and Peach a full account of everything. Baron jokes about whether he is destined for superhero work, but Yao Xin says it was genuinely rough, and then realizes he should be asking Baron for advice. Baron tells him he does not love being leaned on so heavily, but offers a tip regardless. Whenever Yao Xin is at a loss for conversation, he should ask Nami about the things she enjoys. Peach, meanwhile, is furious about the whole setup and urges Yao Xin to end it before he ends up getting hurt. Baron argues they have only just begun and suggests they wait and see, then sets a goal for the coming week. Yao Xin must hold Nami's hand properly, not a handshake, on the walk to or from school before the week is out. While Yao Xin is already stressing about this, a message from Nami pings his phone. He did not expect to hear from her on the very first day. It turns out she wants them to walk to school together the next morning and asks if he can meet her at the statues. The best moments are still ahead. If you want part 2, smash that like button and subscribe to the channel.